At the gates. There's no, this is it. There's no music, which is kind of like, in the options, there's like title music. I don't think that does anything. Also like icons on all of these. L. Oh, wow. Okay, I get it. Yeah, when you hover over things, they have like icons. All right, let's do a new game. Dude, the Goths. Starts with 15 food and 100 treasure. Default is 10 and 40. I hung out with the Goths in high school, so this is going to be good. The Goths. Yeah, so Jon Shafer, as I understand, Shafer is the designer of Civ, a designer on Civ 5. Civ 5, I think. So when I first saw this game, it just had a pretty striking resemblance to that game, which I like. There's not going to be music, is there? Help tips will occasionally appear here to assist you with learning game concepts. You can open the help screen to see a full list of tips by clicking the question mark button in the upper left corner of the screen or by pressing the question mark key. Mouse over any word in yellow to learn more about it. Even inside other tooltips. How deep does this go? I found the real video game right here. I wonder how many other people did this. Okay. Even inside other tooltips. Okay. At the Gates is a hard, slow game. Accomplishing things will take time, and although this early game is often difficult, you will eventually build a powerful kingdom. Click on the button next to the screen to continue learning about the basics of ATG. Want to go it alone? Feel free to skip these tips and read any of them later in the help screen by pressing the question mark key. Or the help in the help screen. Learn more about... Okay. At the Gates is a turn-based strategy similar to other 4X games. Example given, Civilization. The three biggest differences are, you only ever own one city, your settlement. You spend more time managing resources and characters. Oh, clans, okay. ATG is generally more unpredictable and roguelike than other 4AX games, 4X games. Last point is important. In one game, you might have a huge source of treasure nearby, while another, you'll be battling an endless winter of the far north. For the first couple games, we'll make sure the map is somewhere in between. Your ultimate goal is to build a kingdom powerful enough to topple the Roman Empire, either militarily or by indirect means. You'll start each game by foraging for food before eventually settling down in one place and building more advanced permanent structures from stone blocks. There are other factions in the world who have already been on the map for a while. Some are immensely strong right at the start of the game. You're not directly competing with anyone in ATG at the Gates, but that doesn't mean you can ignore your neighbors. The other leaders have strong personalities, and if you get upset, and if you upset someone, you might come to regret it. Wow. What to do on the first turn? Your first order of business is deciding which of your three clans to train in what profession. We suggest starting with an explorer. Next, you need to choose a tech to begin studying. We suggest starting agriculture. These are decisions you'll be making often. This is all you need to do in the first turn. The next turn, you'll have a shiny new unit ready to begin exploring or harvesting resources from the map. The most important task you need to address will always be displayed in the glowing button in the upper right corner of the world screen. I'm assuming it's this one. So if I know anything about Civ, I would say we'd probably... Oh, I guess this is already it. We'd probably want... Oh, you can already like see the hexes. The Civ is like a hex-based game, so you can kind of see. Marsh. I wonder if I want to build my city on the stream to get the benefits, or if it's adjacent. Okay, whatever, we'll find out. This is all you need to do in your first turn. The most important task you need to just always... Okay, yeah. Remember that you will read these... You can read these tips again at any time by pressing the question mark from the world screen. What to do on the first turn continued. Your high-level goals in the first few turns are revealing the map around you with an explorer in order to find abandoned ruins which often contain useful items and resource deposits you can harvest. Training clans as foragers in order to harvest research deposits that you already know about. For the most part, you can use the map to guide your strategic decisions whenever there needs to be music, because this seems really stark. Whatever resource deposits are available nearby should usually become the foundation of your economy, as even things you don't need can be traded for what you lack with it when a caravan is visiting. At the very least, you'll want a hunter, gatherer, or reaper soon. Reaper, harvest wheat, gatherer, harvest fruit, hunter, harvest meat. Okay, before winter's chill takes hold. Winter's chill, Jesus. Okay, basic gamers. You'll mostly be interacting with your clans, which start inside your cell. Should I have done this off stream? And can be trained in various professions, some of which allow them to move around the map as units. The more clans you have, the more you'll be able to do, but there's also more food. There's also the more food your tribe will consume. New clans arrive every few turns at a rate determined by how much fame you're gathering. Resources are harvested from map deposits and dense forests by foragers. And later in the game, more efficient and expensive structures. Deposits eventually run out, so you'll need to continuously find new ones, at least until you're able to construct highly advanced stone block-based structures, which last forever. Wow. Each turn represents half a month, and eventually it will become winter. Most sources of food cease production during cold months, so make sure you have enough turns of food saved up before the winter usually lasts 10 turns long, so try to always have at least that amount. Wow. Okay. So one of the most important jobs is preventing your tribe from starving. At the start, you'll start with some food in your stockpile, but not enough to survive the winter, so make sure you start collecting more within a few months with a forager, like a gatherer or a hunter. One of these can hunt from a forest, which I'm like right by. Right? Gatherer? Oh, maybe any of them can. Okay, whatever. Other important early game resources include knowledge, which allows you to research new professions, and fame, which helps you acquire new clans faster. You can also use treasure to buy resources or sell the ones you have too much of when the caravan is visiting. Cloth is necessary to expand your tribe's pop cap, so that population capacity, pop cap. So you continue going at new clans. Okay. You have one settlement which can train one clan in a profession at a time. So try to plan ahead as much as possible. Training clans as foragers is important early on as you want to start harvesting, but as soon as possible later in the game you'll be able to produce resources more efficiently by having clans construct structures instead. Okay, researching new professions and upgrades is important. Keeping your military economy and military your best bet is prioritizing getting basic resources, refinement, pipeline setup, harvesting iron, and then turning it into weapons with your initial resource riches, as that will give you something to sell to the caravan in exchange for whatever you might lack. Oh boy. Yeah, there's a lot of knowledge here. Okay, clans. The clans... I feel like this is bad tutorialization, though. You know, I think this is, you know, probably what you might expect if you're going to play this game, but this is just bad. I think that there needs to be like a more, and I think this right here, what we're doing is kind of the reason that a lot of people probably would not want to play this, because it's dense and they don't do a great job of kind of giving away this information. You know, I don't think this is a good experience, what I'm doing right now. Your clans are the main building block of your tribe. You start with 3 and will end a successful game with more than 40. Wow. Each clan can be trained in a profession, which allows it to produce resources, do something on the map as a unit, like fight and explore, or provide some other effect. In addition to its profession, a clan can have a discipline and gain experience as and levels in it. This mostly determines how long it takes to train the clan in a new profession. Those in the same discipline are much faster, but a clan's mood, that's a mood right there, might affect it based on this personality traits. Each clan has 2 personality traits, which mean to be good, bad, or simply something to plan around. A clan's mood is determined by 2 things: traits and whether its desire has been satisfied. Happy clans receive resource production and combat bonuses, while unhappy clans suffer the opposite. Most clans will simply be content and require no attention. Each clan has... each clan arrives with 1 family and slowly grow to include more families. This is just a reading. Just reading right now. Families consume a small amount of food per turn because their number continually increases throughout the game. Be mindful to always have a plan for how you'll feed hungry new mouths. You can right-click a clan's card to attach a color-coded note to it, e.g. keep track of what you want to train it in later. Oh, that's nice. Professions. Each can be trained in a profession, of which there are 2 basic types: active and settled. To be in an active profession allows the clan to perform actions on the map, such as fighting, harvesting resources. Most professions are settled, which simply means the clan remain inside the settlement and either refines resources or provides some other kind of economic effect. Only 1 clan can be trained at a time across your entire tribe, so think carefully about what you really want and in what order. The number of turns it takes to train a clan is based on the clan's discipline, its level in that discipline, and how high the level of the profession in question. Being efficient is important, so try not to have clans switch discipline too often, as it resets their level back to 0. The effectiveness of individual clans can be improved by researching and then purchasing profession-based upgrades. In general, you want to be focused on training clans and professions which generally relate to your on-map situation, e.g. archers for fighting bandits, or a digger to harvest mineral deposit. Research! You'll start the game only be able to trade a few clans and professions to increase the options you need to unlock more through research. Most of the techs you'll be researching will be professions, but you can also unlock profession-based upgrades and even a handful of global permanent bonuses, which are usually quite expensive. You can research 1 thing at a time, and a rate determined by how much knowledge you're producing each turn at the cost of the project you're undertaking. The tech tree is broken up in 6 branches, each based on a discipline. Research any tech in a row will allow you to produce any tech in the next row. So you don't feel like you need to research everything, just prioritize what you need right now. Okay. The first tech, where is the tech tree actually? That's probably going to be a nightmare to click on. I'll find it. The first tech in each discipline is special in that it doesn't unlock a new profession, but instead allows you to choose one of your clans to level up in that discipline, making it faster to train them in professions in the same discipline. You can press F1 on the world screen or use the big button on the far upper right to open up the research screen. Basic warfare. Warrior units have a few important stats. First is power, which is a general measure of how strong the unit is in combat. In general, 1 unit or stack of units with a double the power of another will beat up their foe, but not quite kill them. Defenders receive a bonus for the terrain they're on or having dug in over multiple turns. Health is another important stat. It starts at 100 and reaches 0. As it drops, it also lowers the unit's power. Avoiding health loss is important on long campaigns, as units don't automatically cover health and can only do so in the settlement by spending oil and cloth. Morale is similar to health, except that it recovers automatically each turn. Yet attacking units lose more health in combat, while defenders lose morale. More morale. The goal of the attacker is to reduce the defender's morale to 0, which causes them to chaotically retreat from their tile, losing the defensive bonuses they had, and a huge amount of health as they flee. Another important factor to consider in warfare is supply. Each tile provides a certain amount automatically, which drops during the winter. Then without supply for more than 1 turn, a unit will lose morale and health And camping temporarily provides the unit with supply, but it makes it extremely vulnerable to attack, so plan your campaigns carefully. Oh man, there's a lot of stuff to know. If a unit ends a turn on a tile, which provides less supply than it requires, usually 1, it has a 1-turn grace period before it starts losing morale and health. When it's not winter, the only tiles you need to pay attention to in this regard are deserts. This changes completely once it starts getting cold, though. Winter time means thinking about the map in a completely different way. Tiles within your borders always provide as much supply as needed. To avoid taking damage when supply is lacking, a unit may encamp. This also provides the unit with enough supply for an additional turn, allowing it to continue with whatever task it was occupied with. This slows units down a bit, but the real risk is that it makes them extremely vulnerable to attack, so avoid encamping when enemies are nearby. It's possible to eliminate the supply available on a tile and thus grind a powerful enemy down by besieging them. This requires having at least 1 more warrior unit than your foe, but it can be an excellent way of taking down bandit camps and other strongholds. Bandit camps. Okay. They had like, I don't know what they were called in Civ 5, like mercenaries or something. One last thing to keep in mind is that although advanced cavalry units are both fast and strong, they also require 2 supply instead of 1, so keep this in mind when building and commanding your armies. Seasons in winter. Changing seasons affect tiles in 3 ways. Whether or not food can be harvested, the amount of supply available to units, and how difficult it is to move. Weather such as rain and blizzards can randomly strike tiles and dramatically affect their terrain. In general, when a tile becomes cold, it stops producing food. When it gets even colder, all supply disappears. When a tile turns into snow, it becomes harder to move through. But once rivers have frozen, they become much easier to cross. Wow, that's cool. Here's a full list of the seasonal winter effects. Okay. Lose next to turn food? Okay. You can kind of see on the bottom right, it's maybe small on the stream. Harvesting resources. You can produce resources. Whoa. Construct. Contains invalid concept key. Construct refers to. Oh my god. It's funny when it breaks. You can produce resources from map-based deposits and dense forests with a clan trained in foraging profession. Once your economy is more advanced, you can produce even more. Okay. Many deposits start off as unidentified, and you'll need a forager of the right type, or a more advanced surveyor figure to figure out what they are before you can harvest any resources from them. Harvesting resources from a tile depletes and eventually exhausts it. The only way to avoid this is by constructing advanced stone block base structures, which both last forever, and have their production increased by assigning apprentices to them. Another way to increase resource production is by training clans in synergy professions, which boost the output of other clans. You can also improve individual clans by researching. Wow. I feel like it's not good when some of these are broken. Like, that's not good. I can't fix that. And then purchasing profession-based upgrades using a button that appears. Did they not expect me to read this? Resources. Resources. Oh my god, it was almost like 30 minutes of just reading. Resources are one of the 2 fundamental building blocks of the game's economy. Clans being the other one. Your main source will be harvesting deposits, though it's possible to harvest timber from dense forests. You'll use foragers and harvest your resources the first couple of years before you start constructing structures, and can supplement the production with purchases from the caravan if it's visiting. Foragers and timber-based structures deplete and eventually exhaust resources available on a tile, so you'll usually need to move your settlement a couple times before you find more. In the mid-game, you'll be able to found a kingdom, settle down in one place, construct stone block-based buildings that last forever. Food is the most important resource, as if you ever run out, your tribe will starve. Treasure is very useful to buy very resources in the caravan, and even ply neighboring leaders with gifts. Your fame is what determines how often new clans join your tribe, and there are a handful of professions which can help you produce more. Okay. There are 3 types of resources: plant, animals, and minerals. Each is useful in different ways. Harvesting resources is important, but you'll eventually want to refine them into more advanced resources, such as iron, weapons, or wool into cloth. Oh, iron into weapons, wool into cloth. Many professions you can unlock through research. Many professions you can unlock through research relate to resource refinement. So refer to the tree for ideas on what strategy you can pursue. Food. The food is an essential resource which your clans eat each turn. Should you run out, the tribe will starve, reducing resource production, morale, and more. You can harvest it from a variety of map-based deposits with the help of a forager. The caravan occasionally has food for sale, but don't expect to be able to reliably feed your clans this way. Food is different than other resources in that it enters your stockpile as stored turns rather than a fixed, separate, spendable quantity. You consume exactly 1 turn of food each turn. The amount of raw food above your needs you'll be able to produce is then turned into surplus, which you can spend later. 100% excess production equals 1 stored turn. Plus 1 stored turn. Okay. In the first few turns, it's important to pick a deposit, usually a plant you'll used to feed your growing tribe, and train clans as foragers to harvest it. This should last you a year or 2 before running out, when you'll need to find a new, larger source, and maybe something you can refine into even more. Okay, the caravan. The caravan is very important as it allows you to exchange resources you have too much of for those you need. This means you can build up an economy to harvest wool from sheep, turn that into cloth, and then trade it away for weapons if you desire. Don't be afraid to go all in on a resource. The only downside is that the caravan isn't always available, and its stock of resources starts off small. You can only exchange resources with the caravan 3 times per turn. 3 times per year, so make those visits count. The initial, what was I playing before? That game on the Switch had something similar to the caravan. The initial stock of resources available at the caravan is quite limited, but by spending treasure to upgrade it, you can dramatically increase both the quantity and quality of what it sells. If you need more of something or something that's not available, spending treasure to upgrade the caravan can be a wise investment. Okay. Structure. Structures can be built by clans trained in special professions that have the ability to do so. Farmer and miner. Enemy structures can be pillaged by warrior units and even seized permanently, although the output of occupied structures is greatly diminished. Constructing a structure costs either timber or stone blocks, depending on whether you want a basic, temporary structure or an advanced permanent one. Stone block-based structures are incredibly useful as they last forever and can even have apprentices assigned to them to increase production, but they're quite expensive, so don't expect to have any until at least turn 50. I'm glad you're telling me that now. Timber structures are also useful, but it usually makes sense to train 1 or 2 foragers first, and this allows your economy to get off the ground without committing to too far in any direction. Investing heavily into structures can make sense when you start in or near large forest. This is a large forest. Terrain! Oh my god. Yeah, this is so awful. There's so much reading. God. I mean, I understand that it's a dense game, but like, there has to be a different way to like have all this information. I feel like that's what the point of like the list of whatever scenarios and clans to do is, like they eventually introduce more and more concepts instead of having you read a bunch of shit. Because why? Major faction can become the owner of a tile by having their settlement or other structures nearby. A tile must already be owned inside your borders in order to construct a structure there. Tiles within your borders also always provide supply regardless of the season or weather, making them an important strategic asset, especially on defense. The control level of a structure or settlement is equal to the border distance, and this can be upgraded by spending weapons to fortify it. The cost of doing so increases each time though, so do it strategically. Note that foragers may harvest from any tile on the map regardless of whether or not they're inside your borders. Don't forget that they still need supply though. The map. Maps in ATG are randomly generated set of tiles containing various types of terrain. They can also contain resource deposits so you can harvest with foragers and structures. Each type of terrain has a movement cost for units passing through, as well as supply rating, which determines whether or not units can safely remain on the tile. Avoid journeys through snow or desert. A tile's terrain can change as the seasons come and go, and things get pretty bad in the winter depending on how far north you are. Very few sources of food can continue being harvested during the cold months, so be prepared. It is possible for bad weather to randomly afflict tiles decreasing the supply they provide, or even shutting down movement and harvesting of resources. That's a bummer. Terrain. A tile contains one or more terrain, and this combination determines how difficult it is to move in and how much supply it provides units, which is... Rivers are important map barrier which you want to plan around carefully. Units require extra turn to enter a tile with a small river, and large rivers are impossible to cross except in the winter when rivers can freeze and essentially become flat terrain with no additional movement cost. There are a variety of other seasonal and unpredictable weather effects which can affect a tile, including blizzards, floods, and droughts. ATG's map is very dynamic, and you need to account for this in your plans. A particularly harsh winter can unravel even well-prepared rulers both economically and on the battlefield. A unit is simply a clan which has been trained in an active profession and now capable of moving around the map. Multiple units can be grouped together into stacks. Warrior can finally capture civilian units, which are defenseless and focused on economic activities like harvesting resources, which can capture, pillage, enemy structures. Okay, each unit has a certain amount of move points, which determines how far it can move in a turn. Tiles with a clear, flat terrain cost 1 move point per units. Also require supply from their tile, and will lose morale and health if the supply provided is less than what they need, usually caused by changes in season or weather. Out of the map, you'll encounter units belonging to other factions. If you have a warrior unit, you can engage in combat or capture someone else's undefended civilians, but be mindful of who the unit actually belongs to, as some leaders can be quite strong. Okay, great. Other factions. There are other tribes across... I need to take a drink of water. Hang on. There are other tribes spread across the map, and you usually encounter a few within the first year or two of the game. Tribes are unique in both their strength and behavior, the latter which is determined by the leader's personality. You are not competing directly with any of the other factions for victory, that they can pose a serious obstacle to acquire resources on the battlefield. Two special factions you'll run into are the western and eastern halves of the Roman Empire. Recent times have not been kind to the Empire, and although still strong at the start of the game, they'll slowly grow weaker as the years pass. Your ultimate goal is to either conquer one of the capitals or take over the empire indirectly by sending enough clans to join it and seize control of it. That sounds fun. The two other special factions are the bandits and the neutrals. Neither one has a leader or conduct diplomacy, and you're permanently at war with both. Bandits will actively come after you, while neutrals keep to themselves and possess various useful structures around the map that you can fully incorporate into your tribe should you defeat any defenders present. How to win. There are two ways to win. Conquering the capital city of one of the two Roman Empire factions, become a Magister Militum, and taking over Rome from within by sending 5 clans to become Roman legions. Note that there are two Roman factions, eastern and western halves of the previously whole and better days Roman Empire, and either one can satisfy your victory conditions. Conquering the Roman capital will require locating it on the map and significant military preparation, although various setbacks will befall the Romans. They start off quite strong and can put up a fight. Becoming Magister Militum is more of an economic victory, as to send a clan to Rome not only means sending it off for a year, but also providing it with extensive late game equipment. Okay, how to win continued. Along the way, you'll want to do your best to keep the leaders of neighboring factions happy, as they will be able to strong and dangerous if annoyed. They all vary dramatically in strength and aren't competing with you for victory, but their personalities are all very unique, and you really don't want to accidentally make the wrong enemies. On the plus side, these leaders aren't trying to accomplish the same thing as you, but merely compete for dominance amongst themselves. You can view and manage their pursuit to victory in the victory progress screen F7. Diplomacy. Every faction leader, there's just like more to read always. Every faction leader has a unique personality which greatly shapes their behavior, particularly their approach towards you. Keeping the other leaders happy, especially those that are much stronger than you, is an important element of the game. Giving everyone what they want can be difficult, though, as leaders will often want contradictory things. Your relationship level with another leader measures how much they like you and ranges from -10 to +10 influence. Plus 10. Influence is usually earned alongside RL, relationship level, but is instead spent like money to get a leader to do something for you. Reputation is global, hard to earn, and can be spent as influence with any leader. Leverage is the total of all three of these stats and is what is checked when determining if a leader will ultimately agree to one of your proposals. When you initially make contact with a leader, a first meeting event occurs. The leader chooses how they will greet you with a gift, a demand, or simply saying hello based on their personality, and you'll have to choose how to respond. This gives you an early opportunity to shape your relationship in your favor with a gift of your own, or perhaps earning some reputation with a well-timed insult. Okay. Oh my god, I'm actually gonna get to like play the game. The settlement. Each of the 10 major tribes like yourself possesses a single settlement, which functions similar to cities in other 4X strategy games. The big difference is that you only ever have one. The settlement contains all of your tribe's clans except for those you train in active professions. You can also train one clan in a profession at a time, and because you'll only have a single settlement, you have to choose this pipeline. Okay, another unique feature of your settlement compared to other cities in other games is that it can pack up and move around the map. Something that will become necessary is you'll eventually use the resources near your starting location and need access to more. Relocating should be a careful, strategic decision though, as packing up prevents your settlement from being able to train a clan. Your settlement also has a control level which determines how far your borders reach and allows you to turn your units to construct structures and receive free supply during the winter. Okay, great. Okay. Yeah, and also this experience is just bad because like fucking... Why is this menu like nested like this? At the Gates has the coolest tooltips of any game ever made, so be sure to make use of it. Any game ever. Move the cursor over emphasized word anywhere in the game. You can learn more about it. I feel like this is a great time to just be like, emphasized. The game also has several hotkeys to assist in navigating the interface, which appear on a mouse over the corresponding key. The most important key is the spacebar, which opens up the clan screen, and enter, which ends the turn or activates the next unresolved high priority notification. The world screen is where you'll spend most of your time and is most likely taken up by the map. The three most important buttons are located in the upper right and involve making high-level decisions which affect your tribe. The selection panel appears in the lower left corner when you click on a map object and provides you with information and commands related to it. The three most important screens in the game are the clan screen, the training screen, and the research screen. The latter two both show the tree of professions that the clan can be trained in once researched. Most other less important game screens can be opened via one of the small buttons in the top of the world screen or via their associated hotkey. Oh my god. I thought we were almost done. We're not. Spend most of your time on the screen looking at and interacting with the map. Most of the rest of the time being spent in clans. What's an at the gates? This is an at the gates. We're in it. It's a bunch of reading. This is apparently a visual novel. Just kidding. Clicking on a tile with a non-trained object will bring up the selection panel. Can I do that now? Nope. Where you can learn more about the object in question. Oh, there's the thing. Oh, I can! Fucking horses! Oh, shit. We can learn more about... I want to learn more about the herd of horses. Wait, I can't just use them as horses? I have to eat them? Okay, where you can learn more about the object. Okay, I feel like... I don't know if I think this is good or not. There's not even like a quick little like... What did I... Oh, maybe it does when I work the tile. New more important buttons are in the top right in the corner of the task button, which automatically points towards the next important decision or ends the turn if everything is addressed. This is also where important notifications will appear. The other two big buttons will allow you to choose a clan, to train in a profession, and to choose a new tile, new tech to research. Not training clan, not... Okay. There are very small buttons on the world screen which open and provide you other useful tools such as notepad to keep track of your thoughts. A notepad? Squad. Wow. There's a fucking notepad. There are also several other cool features that you can learn more by taking the advanced concepts below. Well, fucking let's do the advance. Okay. Any hotkey which opens up a screen can also be used to close it. Pressing spacebar both opens the clan screen and closes it. Okay. You can turn off the map grid or change the thickness by pressing G. Fucking look at that. Grids. There are several places in the game where you can write small notes about yourself. To yourself to keep track of things. Right clicking on either the clan card in the map tile where nothing is selected will allow you to attach a note to that clan or tile. And the clan card notes are especially useful as this adds a colored label right to the card itself, which you can use the press F5 to write game-wide notes to yourself. F5. Nope. Dude, yeah, fucking a grid. Horse hype. Okay, other tooltips. The most powerful tooltips for learning how to play. Simply move your mouse over any emphasized word to create a new tooltip. Explain the concept. Okay, especially fancy tooltips like those for refreshing can be customized right from within the tooltip itself. Sections can be collapsed or even almost completely hidden if, say, you're already familiar with the basic descriptions for everything and just want to see the cold, hard numbers. You can reset the tooltip setting in the options screen, or even customize them individually by modifying the settings.xml file. That is ridiculous. You're ridiculous. Okay, the clan screen you can press by splitting A button to open or close it. Fucking the clan screen. Look at this. Look at my clan of goths. This screen shows you all the clans in your settlement, which you can train in various professions. It also includes important but rare tribe level actions such as founding a kingdom. You also spend a lot of time on the screen. How do I actually get to that screen? Is there a button to get to that screen? Is it this? Got it. Close. Two other important screens are the training screen, which can be accessed from the clan screen, and the research screen, hotkey F1. Both of which show both show you the professions you can choose to train a clan in or research. The research screen also includes a number of other bonuses you can acquire besides unlocking new professions. I don't think this is a good idea to point users to an XML file. I know. Yeah, I know. I feel like it, so I'm of two minds about it. I feel like it also is bad to point users to an XML file and to not just have those settings readily available with a GUI in the game. But also, if you're the person that's playing this game, you're probably familiar with an XML file. You're probably familiar with opening an XML or an INI file to do some gnarly shit. But I feel like it's a bad user experience in general. The victory screen shows you how to win the game. Yeah, this is the screen I'm going to spend. Oh, never mind. The diplomacy screen shows you how to speak with other leaders. Okay, I haven't met any yet. Can I get to these screens? Like, what the fuck? The clan info screen gives you a single place where you can keep track of all your clans. Didn't work. Didn't work. Okay. Founding a kingdom. Why do I need to know this? You said I wouldn't do this until turn, like, 40 or whatever. During the first use in the game, you've exhausted the resources in your area. This isn't necessary during the first year, but it's something to think about after your first winter. After you've developed an economy a bit and found a region with several deposits you like to harvest forever, you can found a kingdom, command the clan screen. Oh, okay. This permanently gives your settlement wherever tile you're currently on, but it provides the largest increase to its control. Okay. Founding a kingdom is a big step and costs 20 parchment. This action you probably won't be ready for until at least turn 50, before your goal is simply to explore the map and develop your economy in order to open up larger strategic plays in the mid-game. Okay. I'm glad you're telling me about this now. Okay, well apparently I'm ready to play the game.